residential development. One of the statements you make as part of that is this is for residential use only, every lot in the subdivision.
But I think we define, we have those home businesses as being defined as accessory residential uses, so I think that we cover the people.
Yeah.
Well,
Because he said, he actually asked the state about it, and the state said, well, no, we're not enforcing it.
that's kind of entertaining, especially in
But
today's
it's in the
world.
law.
Huh, very interesting. Oh, I didn't put spaces there. Should I put spaces in there?
Spaces.
During the section,
Yeah, there.
Yeah, that would actually make it easier to read.
use more, yeah, definitely make it easier, use more paper.
Yeah, but it should be easy, it should be easy to pick out where the numbering systems are.
See, this is the level of detail we're down to now, so that's why I wanted to do this before I started making 8 zillion PDFs. The PDF process takes a little time.
You get something that does the conversion, but
Yeah, the modern versions of Word all do it somewhat automatically, but you still got to go through, save it, name it, upload it. I mean, it's a little bit, it's laborious. It's simple but laborious. I think for the most part, those sections I did this, and so I wonder why this is like this. See, now, here's another thing, you know, I kind of like this section because it's the permitting procedure, kind of in a nutshell. But, you know, we have an inconsistency, we have to find it, and I think I need to move that one paragraph. And hopefully we're gonna run into it tonight when we're going through this, and I'll go and make a change. So, here we have the whole process for the permit. Okay, and see, there's no what to do if you don't get your permit. Right? Expiration, what's that, copy? Right? Right. So there was nothing there. So then you come to the end of the operational permitting section, the very last paragraph tells you how to do an appeal. So maybe this would be the section for the appeal, for the planning board permit. So I think we got to figure out where it is. So it could be in section 2, it could be in section 5. I'm thinking right now maybe section 5, because it just really, this simple sentence, you know, maybe another couple sentences, but it's not that big of a deal. Stick it at the end of the regular permitting. Your wheels are turning there, Gerald. Okay.
Bureaucratically, what's the simplest?
Bureaucratically, I mean, to put it in, I think right now, I think we're gonna find it's in Article 6, see where it is. I think probably it should be in Article 5. It'll be similar to operational permitting, but, you know, maybe next year, we could look at it again, it could all get moved into Article 2, because Article 2 is administrative procedures. And then that would kind of fold it in together. I mean, there's probably elements of Article 5 that could be in Article 2 also, but, you know, there's probably reasons for keeping them separate as well. I mean, so that would have to be looked at in a little bit more detail. There's that. This is like the really dry stuff, man. But so it needs to be this. And this stuff needs to get done. It's just dry. Oh, I missed my little. Insert. This is like even different. This is like probably the 4th different version of this I've touched today. Symbol. Symbols.
There it is right there.
Third line from the bottom.
Ta-da.
So one thing I gotta say, Dave expected to be a short night, he only brought one coffee.
So we're going along here. That's funny.
Wait, you make a mistake.
I know, yeah.
So then we put them into all of these tables. We've been through these tables a couple times, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time. Hopefully, if you don't like anything or whatever in the tables,
There's some, whatever that nit is, 6333 or something underlined there, is that a typo or maybe, no, 333 at the bottom.
this truth, ground truth. Yeah, that's another word that
Okay.
we're going to display in Paula and say that she made it up, and that's some confusion in the English language. We'll say she did it, but I think I might have done. I think it's ground truthing. It's something that you're not necessarily going to find. It's not a very commonly used word, but if you planning board reserves the right to request current ground truth topography or ground. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. It's it's a little bit of a passive voice, but
It's underlined, so it's wrong.
right, it's for emphasis. That's what that means.
We got an extra period there.
I did try to, I think putting the headings on there was good for each table. I forgot whether that was something you did or on this one. There were a couple times when you recommended putting headings on there, and I did. I couldn't get it to say continued without having to say continued all the time. That was like quite laborious, because you have to go through and do a section break in a table and stuff, and I just wasn't going to teach myself how to do that.
But I think period, you have an extra period there, down one, right there, 6,
Yeah.
ending on 6/6.
Great, awesome, thanks, good eye. Taking me deer hunting with me.
Same thing right there, Eric. No, right there, yeah.
Oh, it just probably doesn't like those.
I think you got an extra space there you don't realize.
Yeah, but look at that, it's got that little asterisk,
Oh,
that probably doesn't like that. So this is our discussion of comprehensive impact statement, and I think this is definitely, it just is much less confusing. I had to review a comprehensive impact statement, or a comprehensive, or a environmental impact statement a few weeks ago, and I was thinking to myself how happy I was not to have those words here, because it means something completely different than what we're talking about. Not only completely different, but in terms of content, it's, you know, it's multiple notebooks.
I guess the system's telling you you need a period after ETC, I don't know. I go down, right there. Tim, I don't know, it just
yeah,
seems to want you to put one, I don't know whether it's appropriate or not.
yeah, technically it's an abbreviation, and it's supposed to, but
And since we call it a comprehensive impact statement, you know, I mean, I just thought it'd be useful to, if you're gonna ask for all this other stuff, you know, exactly, so then everybody in the community can get a good view for exactly what is going on with whatever the project is. So, all the elements. This basically just touches things in a little bit deeper detail. And again, going back to the top of this thing, just to be really clear about this. So this basically says, if the planning board requests it, so if there is something that's a little funky, and you want an impact statement, you can get it done. And this one says for big projects, you have to do it.
Do you define big?
Tier 3, high impact. And that's defined in one of these subsequent articles. And there's been quite a discussion about ethics statements inside this, which I don't feel that this is the appropriate place for, the ethics should only follow the planning board, so I think we all agree on that. But the, you know, there was quite a bit of discussion about economic development, so I researched that, and that's why this is in here. So I mean, you guys agree that this is important to at least write this here because there's a lot of discussion about it. I mean, this covers, I think, the biggest issue I think that people are concerned about with the planning board. And so I went, like I said, this is actually in statute. And I crystallized that this is the select board's job, not our job. So. And then the CEO can be part of it if they're not like the approving authority. So that probably would almost never be the case, but I just thought it would be good just to add it in there. So then this is when we go through and we talk about vesting rights. This is when we basically go through and
capitalize that bold, that one on.
oh yeah, thanks. Basically, I forget exactly how they do it in Brewer, but basically they almost never have this as an issue because I guess the perspective is if you own property or whatever and somebody comes in and is going to do something, they don't have this issue. They don't take this other stuff that comes up. Apparently doesn't they handle it a different way.
yeah,
So
don't they have an economic development officer or someone who is allowed confidentiality.
Yeah,
So all of this is dealt with by somebody that
right,
doesn't have these problems. You
right, they have a person that does this stuff.
Because we have a lawyer right there all the time too.
Right, yeah, they've got people that handle issues. So anyway, but this is, you know, on our side, I mean, it'd be interesting to see how that flies. I feel like it's a good thing to do because I don't feel if people come in, because of how much time it takes us to do something, that somebody should be dealing with that stuff. So as we go through and do the tier classification process, that's how we end up with whether it's a big project or not. This is budding property owners. Notification.
Back it up just for a second. Okay, don't back it up just a little bit more. Yes, notice to abutters. Isn't that responsibility of the person that's doing the project, not the town?
I think we ended up. Did we end up notifying the butters, or did you notify the butters?
I did.
You did. I think we might have voted on that. I don't remember. But I think we went back and forth on how that should work.
I think we did go back and forth, because I think one time I didn't, I think one time the planning board did.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I think you did it initially. I think the planning board does it because I think that we should be charging a high enough application fee to get it done. Because the concern, like on the planning board side, is so if the planning board requires the developer to do it, then basically we're telling the developer you've got to go do it by certified mail, blah blah blah. So then what's the planning board going to do, or the code enforcement officer? Somebody has to go through every one of those certified mailings and make sure, and then compare it to a map and do it. So that takes almost as much time as the code enforcement officer going through, getting all of them done in the first place, okay? And then having a form and then sending it out to them. And even if we send it out certified mail so the town can be sure they got sent out, you know, then you only look at it once. So it doesn't really save you that much time to have to go back and cross-check the developer. And I think that's what we finally concluded the first time when we did this, even though that's why you have a high enough application fee, because then that captures some of the time that the code enforcement officer would take to do the work. That'd be but you see what I mean? I mean, you end up having to check it anyway, so.
Yeah, because that middle sentence kind of, to me, is interpreted as what the owner is doing, you know, notification, because he's got to supply proof to the planning board. The town, I guess, can do the same thing.
Okay, where are you looking there, Vern?
Well, the section was to specify location, give general description of the project, and the supply proof date, form this notification to the planning board, so we're giving it to ourselves.
Right, well, actually, because the planning board isn't going to do it, the code enforcement officer is going to do it, and he'll make it part of the record. Or the town clerk, or somebody, a full-time member of the staff will take care of that, and then we'll get it back. I mean, we are taking some responsibility, granted, all right, on that, on the town. I say we, I'm talking about the town. I mean,
Yeah, no, I
So
don't have a problem.
but I mean, you know, kind of to finish that part of the discussion. So if the developer does it and they miss somebody, and then the town also misses the same person, you still have the same risk. So you really didn't, I mean, there's no risk avoidance there.
I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
not-
no, I know, I just wanted to have, finish my thought on it.
That was written as if the.
And plus I wanted just to kind
was
of
gonna do it.
think it to myself too, think about what the risk factors were in the town doing it. But I think there's still the same risk, that somebody might not be notified.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem.
And then we have the intervenor section. So then once that they vote that they have a completed application, you know, first of all, during the process of coming to the completed application, people are gonna become aware of it. And then by the time, this probably gives people 2 or 3 months to figure out whether they wanna be an intervenor. Then after you vote on it, they have another month to be an intervenor. So they really have a lot of time to become an intervenor.
On interveners, you wanna cut, or bold at Article 2, or is it second line?
Yep. That'd be consistent with our,
Are you putting an article in front of those numbers, like down at the bottom, 6.38, and that's a comma on there. But are you putting an article in front of them, or just that number? I mean, it's understood, I suspect.
I think article will probably be better. It might be missed a couple times, but
I liked it.
There was a couple up above too.
we're, we're,
I saw it on honest, I did.
liar.
Not that far. We must be on there.
Figment of your imagination.
Couldn't be.
Well, we probably did this one, but.
Guess not. Maybe it was that one.
Now, one thing I did, you know, I mentioned it in the slides, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands again. We set these barriers, if you remember, Bruce, pretty tight before for when to have these hearings and stuff, because the thought process was, you know, people would drag their heels in the planning board and not get stuff done. But, you know, I felt like after going through the whole thing, it did put a lot of pressure to meet deadlines and things like that. You know, and I wanted to make this more expanded so that you could take, you know.
Well, this is just a matter of could take. It's a case of in a small town like this, you don't meet that often. You don't have the resources behind you that you have in a large city to do
Right.
these things fast.
Right, I know, and then, but that was, in fairness, I think, you know, from when Paul was writing it, Paul was making the time wider, and I think we put a lot of pressure on her to make it short, and ended up that wasn't maybe a good idea, because everybody felt constrained, and, you know, you have to respond so quickly to stuff to meet the deadlines, and it just wasn't, it sounds good on paper, but it's not practical, like you said, for us, and I just want to make sure that everybody understands we are taking longer times to do stuff because it's just smarter.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
On that, up there where it was interveners, is that what you mean in Article 2 when you say that interveners according to the rules in Article 6? I'm not
Yes.
sure what it's referring to in Article 2.
Yeah, you know what, we might be able to go back into Article 2 and put down in 6.4.6.3.4.
Okay.
So maybe we should, let me write that down. You're basically recommending that we make the whole point reference in like we do a lot of other places, right? Right, Paula?
I think so. I didn't catch all that, but I think.
You're trying to say, I think what you're recommending is that in Article 2, we talk
You
about
need to
interveners,
Yeah.
but you're recommending probably, because we just say Article 6, you're recommending that we home in on this paragraph.
If that's what you mean.
Yes.
That's what I wasn't sure if I had to read the whole article to find where you.
No, I think it's probably a good recommendation. Then here's our newspaper stuff. I think we didn't really change that. You know, I actually looked this up, and this is pretty much how things are described in the state laws about how these hearings go, so. In the subdivision manual, that's what I meant, actually not state law, the subdivision manual, this is pretty much verbatim right out of this subdivision manual, or how this, or the state planning board manual.
On 2, you cite Article 2 again, if you want to bold that, or should be bold.
MMA planning board guide, be really specific. So then I broke this out. This is a little bit different than it was before. We kind of are very roaming through the process before. So what I did here was I just kind of broke it out into bigger paragraphs and renumbered them. And then I tried to have to include the intervenor process, you know, because then if you get into a situation here and you're gonna open and close things, then you need to enable the interveners to come back in.
You need a period there, I guess, on 6, scroll down, just a
Yeah.
bit more. The thing is the red flag there, I think it needs.
Or the blue flag.
The blue flag, yeah, blue.
Oh,
Yeah. Right there. Should be a period as well.
Yeah. I need the standard. I don't know why it's blue sometimes and why it's not, but it's Microsoft. Mylar is a word, so I don't know what's wrong with that.
Maybe a trademark or something.
Maybe it's
I think
supposed to
the
be
town's
capitalized.
exempt from that.
Yeah, you're right.
Technically, I think it's a trade, it's a copyrighted,
Yeah.
Well, Kleenex.
And down below, it's also flagged.
You see that? Make sure there's something here.
I don't know why that was blue flag.
Maybe the period is a comma.
you did something wrong.
Yeah, maybe the period's a comma. Sometimes you put a comma and you can't tell what it
Space too many, space too few.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, he did, he's got another one, comment down there. which-
Kind of one of the things we had, if you kind of remember that, that's what this is all about. And then something that we were a little bit loose about, you know, I wanted this to happen, okay? So once it's closed, it's written as closed, it's done.
Oh, to hold it right there on 64712. Is that a period at the end, or is that a? See where the number is 6?
It's not bold.
There we go.
You made it bold, or it triggered the blue line.
Oh,
Eagle eye.
so this is what we
Somewhere
require.
at the top of that page, you missed a capital B on board.
Where's that?
I saw it before, when did I see it?
The board name, end of the first line in the second paragraph.
Once the applicant returns with the additional permits, the board.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
I get paid for this, you know.
Okay,
I
I'll
know.
give you a soda. I forgot. You know what? I need to look at that. I don't know. Remember whether I had put periods. I'm thinking I did put periods, and I'm going to just to be consistent. I'm going to just go back and look at what I did in other sections when I had that. I think I should not have periods there. Once I got 5 numbers, that's when I started to go to the little ones, because I was trying to make sure that I didn't get indented so far. So to me, this was my way of saying, caution, you're getting too detailed, maybe you should think of something else. So that's why I did it this way. It's just to not, I didn't want to go embed any further right than 5. This was my 6th indent. So anyway, that was my own control measure. I see another couple of inconsistencies I'm not going to jump into right now. I might fix them if I feel like it later. See that?
Different font.
No, what I did here was, see how I did that for whatever reason in that section. You know, I normally, in most of the other sections, see I did that, and then here I didn't wrap it back to that. So I'll see if I can just fix that little details. Formatting. They're all in Arial 11. Etc. Okay. Subdivider, maybe you should have a dash.
You know, like, I think we've got some further up too, if you wanted to.
I'll look for them again. So then the state,
That font looks different to me. Is it
Arial 11,
6, 7?
Arial 11, Arial 11.
Okay. Just
Yeah. Probably just the angle.
After reading it for several days, you're probably getting cross-eyed.
Yeah, so I am.
we're missing period up there, I think. Right
Yeah.
there, 6771.
Blue lines on.
But see, it's not consistently. See?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Like I said, it's freaking Microsoft. Ooh, double check there.
Yeah, because you got one between, no,
Right. I mean, I just.
No,
Uh,
after
13,
noise,
6713 would need a period then.
And now it'll go away. Yeah.
I think the periods on 3, 4, and 5 down there probably need to be bolded right there. I think. We're really getting down into the weeds.
I know. Over there.
back up just a second, Eric. Stop right there. And period or comma at the end of river.
Comma. And that was that.
31 page.
That's a big section.
Yes. You found that out?
So these are all our GPSs.
Okay, why was the 4 up there?
Well,
That's a good question.
because there was a bunch of them that were small and big letters, and we weren't consistent, and so I'm not gonna fix every single thing in here, but this is the deal, when you hit change case and go to title case, it capitalizes every single word in title case, okay? So that includes capitalizing,
I was just wondering why it was blue. If you had to-
yeah, well, that's why it's doing it. And then you can get into, probably for, and or. Or maybe even 4 should still be capitalized, but that's the level of detail you're into for this, and I don't want to know if I want to
Yeah.
mess with that or not. I just get it gets to be really, really, really tedious, and
I think you got couple extra spaces there in GPS too, maybe is that,
no. What happens here? These are all tabs.
no, between 0 and archaeological, is there supposed to?
Yeah, there's a tab.
Gap? Okay.
On those, there's a
Okay,
tab.
I see.
That's the protocol that I'm going to write up in my little how to do it book.
You have to use 2 tabs here.
Yeah, I think it's 2 tabs. That's right. I think there are 2 tabs. See, I'm telling you, I'm going to do it.
Maybe it's not about it.
Eric, go and get some sleep tonight.
Again, another thing on 4.0 is the broken line, underline, is that supposed to be broken there?
No. It should be all one.
And this is really, de minimis.
Well, no, we may as well grab them.
I think you need an apostrophe there. It's not plural.
The select board or its appointee, because it's the only time you put an apostrophe in it's is if it is.
Right.
Or when it's possessive, I thought.
No,
Mhm.
that's an exception.
Okay.
Need a period on GPS 481.
Yeah.
4.7. Don't we use select board as 2 words usually?
Oh, yeah, I guess that's 4.7.
Yeah, you're right.
Sharp eyes.
I know, it's good. Oh yeah, and here's where we got to agree to do this.
Do you want a
DOT?
bolt? Yeah. And again,
Yeah.
482.
Yeah, I see that.
Up there on the 4822, you gotta put a dot behind the second 2. Thank you.
Got the section thing there on the symbol on Title 38 projections.
Anything else? Okay. I was just gonna say, no.
13.0? That, I thought Joe was gonna say that. Article 13.0?
I think it's Article 13, I think we've been doing it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, an extra, no, never mind, I'm sorry. Third, 12.3 and 12.2, I think need to be bolded.
Carol, are you glad you're here tonight?
Just, please, just punch.
15-2 period.
Yeah, I think we were perioding all those wrong.
So what is the latest still staying in blue?
I don't know.
I have no idea. But like something here,
You can call the Microsoft Office team and try to figure it
Down
out.
one place and blue and all that.
15.9
Do you want Beamer and HUD bolded up there?
Where's that?
15.2.
Oh, yeah, we can probably do that. We've kind of been doing that, so. Yeah.
period.
The DEP ought to be,
Sure, why not?
they get rid of that.
Periods.
You change the spacing of that hotels.
Always two.